This is the Big Nasty. Yeah, Big Nasty, Hall of Fame, Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, baby.
This is Mike Allstott, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you're listening to the Cannon Fire Podcast.
Cannon Fire Podcast, brother. You ain't listening, and you're missing out. Woo!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Cannon Fire Podcast. Today for episode 117, we are live on YouTube for a CF Hotline call-in show. We're going to be taking your calls, catching you up on all the latest Buccaneer news from the week. Granted, it's not the best news in the world, but it's Buc news, all right. So we're going to cover all of that and, of course, take your calls on the CF hotline. 813-433-0323 is the number to call. If you're watching us here on YouTube, welcome to the show. Happy Juneteenth to everyone. Hope you are celebrating freedom today with your family and anything else that makes you happy. As we are here on YouTube taking your phone calls. So again, 813-433-0323 is the number to call. I'm your host, as always, Rhett Matthew, joined alongside me, my good buddy and co-host, the Philly Bucs fan himself, Mr. Evan Wanish. Evan, how are you doing today, my man?
Doing pretty good. How are you feeling over there, buddy?
I'm feeling good. You know, I was telling you right before the show started that my back is in probably the worst pain it's ever been in my life, and that is no exaggeration. Like, I wish I was just fluffing it up a little bit for a good story, but good God almighty, dude, my back, my lower back in particular, is like, oh, I've never felt so held back so much in my life. Like, you slightly bend over, and you can just feel it coming on. Like, I can't bend over and pick stuff up off of the floor without feeling like an old-ass man. I took a shower right before the show.
Not fun.
I needed like a handle to take a shower. Like, I just feel, I feel broken, and I don't know what it is. I think I'm going to try and schedule like a therapeutic massage before I go to a doctor and see if that works. But if it keeps up, I'm going to have to go to a doctor, because this is coming up on like 5 days that I felt like this, and it's, God, this sucks. But other than that, I'm doing okay. I'm happy to be here live on YouTube.
Yeah, I normally get like knots in my back. That's about the extent of it, but I mean, they hurt, but obviously it doesn't sound like something that you have might be more serious. So like a professional massage might be the best option before going to a doctor. So,
and I mean, I've had back kinks before. Like, I've had my back hurt, but this is just an all new level, man. It really is. Let's take a look at the live chat, since we are live on YouTube, really quick, and say hello to everybody stopping by. Neil L says what's up. The Meme Boy says what's up. Our buddy Randy from Jersey, Taz Lion, says what's up. And Armorman 2.09 says the 2020 Bucs anthem drops August 1st. I'm actually excited to hear a lot of those Bucs anthems this year. I know people write them off as cheesy and corny.
I wonder if we'll be involved.
Who knows? I know we've been name dropped in one or two.
Remember that one that I sent you?
Yeah, I think that was the same guy. I think that was this Armor Man guy who had said.
Okay, well, if it was, yeah, then sweet. I remember, yeah, that was last year. We were involved in a song, kind of like a hype song, and I forget exactly how it went, but I still have like it screen recorded, because he went live with me and like showed it to me like on live.
Hell yeah,
on Instagram, dude. And I was like, all right, it's pretty dope.
Buck Skull Gang in the house says hello. What is going on, man? So again, guys, this is a call-in show. 813-433-0323 is the number to call if you have anything you want to talk about in particular. The hotline is open. We are ready to take your calls, but we really just don't have a whole lot to talk about. I mean, at least good news to talk about. If we have to open up with one thing, let's open up with this. One Tampa Bay assistant coach has tested positive for COVID-19. The person who tested positive for COVID-19 was asymptomatic, which basically means that they don't feel any symptoms that a lot of other people do, because there's two ways you can get it. You can either be asymptomatic or whatever the other word is for it. I'm not a fucking doctor. But basically, if you're asymptomatic, you don't show any symptoms, and it just doesn't affect you as bad. But that's what's so weird about the virus and how it spreads so easily, is that if you're asymptomatic and you don't know you have it, you can spread it to however many other people. So That person was asymptomatic, and then 2 other assistants who were working in the building this week have been quarantined. So, coach is back in one Buck this week, and just like that, they're back out, I presume. What do you think? I'll add you back. Cannon Fire Podcast, thank you for calling. What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Eric in Tampa.
Eric in Tampa, what's going on, my man? What do you want to talk about?
Man, what's the chances we get Jamal Adams? Are we in the fix for Jamal Adams?
Oh, man, this is a hot topic. So for people who are not caught up, Jamal Adams requested a trade from the Jets yesterday. And there's rumors floating around that there's a few teams he would like to play for before anybody else when it comes to contract stuff. But Evan, let me toss this to you, man, if you're still in here. Do you think we have a real shot at Jamal Adams? Because I've heard 50-50. I've heard yes, and I've heard people say hell no. I think financially it isn't that possible, but what do you think, Evan?
Yeah, if this was Madden and you could turn the salary cap off, then it'd be different. It's also going to be pretty expensive.
I had a question for you. What would it cost us to get Jamal Adams? What would it cost the Bucs?
Yes.
Let's give us some stories. Would it cost us draft picks and players, or just mostly draft picks?
I would assume it would mostly be just draft picks. You might have to like for the Bucs case. Maybe like it would definitely include a first round pick. It would have to include a first round pick. So let's say for the Bucs case, maybe if you're including a player, maybe it's like a first, a fourth, and like OJ Howard or something. Yeah, Brady or Howard. I think either one of those, honestly. But it's a expensive price to pay.
And a second, maybe and a second.
It's possible. I think it all depends on how many teams are truly interested in trading for him, and then you start to get into a bidding war. But I don't think right now. I don't think Jamal Adams is a realistic option for the Bucs. Every team would love to have it, but
what's your thoughts on Kevin Kaepernick? I heard a rumor he could come to the Bucs. I don't know if that was true or not, but what's the latest on Kevin Kaepernick situation? I heard it was rumored about it could come to the Bucs. Second strange job.
I personally haven't heard anything about connections from Cap to the Bucs. Like I haven't heard anything about the Bucs showing some interest. I know there's some other teams floating around who are looking at him.
It was on the Bucs. It was on the Bucs something talk. It was on Bucs News something like Peter Plank, something like that. I saw something like that.
It might have been. I know over here we haven't discussed it just yet. I haven't seen too much. Evan, have you seen anything linking Colin Kaepernick to Tampa?
No, not really. It wouldn't surprise me though, honestly, just because maybe if they do put on another workout, maybe the Bucs do attend. Really, at the end of the day, I think you have to weigh. Colin Kaepernick. I think 3 years ago. When he was released from the 49ers, I think he would have been a great backup for a lot of teams. But right now, he hasn't played football for 3 years. So I think the biggest thing is any team that wants him, you're going to have to bring him in and see how he actually looks. Because like I said, this guy hasn't had game action for 3 years. So while on the surface, he might be better than a Ryan Griffin or Blaine Gabbert, you just don't know right now. And you won't know until you bring him in. So it's a possibility. I wouldn't say it's likely, though.
How about Freeman, the running back? Donta Freeman. What's the latest on Donta Freeman coming to the Bucs? What's the latest news on that?
Last we talked about it, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago we did a show, and the last thing that we had really heard was Devontae Freeman posted on Twitter. He said if the Bucs are interested, they can talk to me. Like, they can pick up the phone, they can talk to me. So the last thing that we had heard, I don't think there's been any communication between Devontae Freeman and the Bucs, and if I have to assume that between now and then when we last talked about it, I don't think anything has changed.
Okay. How about Clowney? Are we in the pursuit for Clowney?
Nah, man. It's just like with Jamal Adams. It's that price tag. Clowney is looking for a deal that makes him one of the top 5 defensive ends in the NFL salary wise, and the Bucs just simply don't have that much money to throw at that guy.
Why do he doesn't want to take a 1-year deal like what we did for Shaq Barrett? He got like 19 sacks in one season. Take a proven deal.
I mean, it's nice, but I just truly don't think Clowney would say yes. You know, the Bucs can offer whatever they want. They can offer him a bag of chips and a ham sandwich for a 1-year deal just to prove it. But, it doesn't mean he has to take it. So even if they were to throw out $9 or $10 million, which they don't have in a 1-year deal, I just don't feel confident that Clowney would say yes. I'm sure a lot of players want to be here, but the money's got to be right before anything else.
Hey, can we cut William Golston? That'll be enough right there. Cut William Golston, $4.5 million. Cut William Golston. And there's the money right there for Jamal Adams or Clowney.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. It's a lot of moving around for the Bucs to do, especially in a time right now where everything is so uncertain. And William Golston, let's not forget, I know it's easy for him to be the odd man out, but man, he stepped it up and he played probably his best season in the NFL last year in this Todd Bowles defense. So I'm looking for him to improve. I'd like to keep him on this roster.
But we have 6 tight ends this year. Who's not going to make the roster cut at tight end market? Who's not going to make the roster, you think?
Ooh, Evan, I'm going to toss this one to you.
This is just the roster or like a specific group?
Like, who do you in the tight end position, who do you think is going to be the odd man out? Because we've talked about, O.J. Howard, Cam Brate, and of course Rob Gronkowski more than likely going to make the team.
We have 6 tight ends.
Right.
I like Hudson. I like Hudson, but would he make the roster?
Yeah, I think right now, they would probably keep 4 tight ends, and that 4th one would probably be Anthony Auclair. I believe Tanner Hudson is still practice squad eligible, so that would be the best spot for him. I don't think they want to get rid of him completely, so if he doesn't make the team, I would say that the practice squad is the most likely place for Hudson. And then a guy like Jordan Leggett, I believe this is his last season he's practice squad eligible, or they may just cut him. So we'll see. But I would be surprised if Hudson was cut.
And let me just say this about Tanner Hudson really quick, because I like the guy off of last preseason. I think he showed up when he should have. He was able to show off some pretty good pass catching ability. I don't think it matters that much, and obviously it's not going to tell us if he makes the team or not, but an important note is that he was one of the 10 players working out with Tom Brady at Berkeley Prep. So he's still getting reps in with his quarterback. That doesn't mean anything that he'll make the team or the practice squad, but I don't know, just an important note that Tanner Hudson is one of those tight ends out there as opposed to, I believe, Anthony Auclair or Jordan Leggett. So Hudson's getting his reps in.
I have a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
What's the news on Pat P?
Say again?
Patrick Peterson in the Cardinals corner.
Patrick Peterson, everything's been quiet from that camp. Evan, at this point, I think it's safe to assume he's just going to stay in Arizona, right?
Yeah, I think so.
My friend. How about the running back market? Do you think the running back market is okay in the running crew? What do you think about the running and the receiver? Who would be the 3rd receiver this year or 4th receiver?
We talked about that 3rd wide receiver spot a few weeks ago on the show, and I think right now the guy who has the biggest edge is Tyler Johnson, at least the most to prove. Justin Watson could be one of the odd men out.
Scotty Miller?
Scotty Miller, definitely, but I think if you just look at Tyler Johnson and the ways that they're going to be able to use him, they can use him a little bit differently to make some mismatches. But who knows, man? If I had to guess, wide receiver 3 is going to be Tyler Johnson, though. What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting battle in camp. I think it would be between Tyler Johnson or Scotty Miller. And I mean, honestly, the advantage right now might go to Miller because he's been attending these Brady workouts. So I mean, we'll see. It all depends on when they put the pads on, though. And I do like Tyler Johnson a lot. So if I had to guess, I'd say probably him.
How about the running back core? Who do you think would be starting running back this year? Would it be Ronald Jones?
Oh, it's Ronald. Yeah.
How about the rookie running back? I like the rookie running back, man.
I mean, I think, on the draft review show we talked about this, but Ronald Jones is definitely going to be our cowbell back this year. Not like a Derrick Henry, obviously, because there's only one Derrick Henry, but Ronald Jones is going to be your proverbial starter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Keyshawn Vaughn can fill in the role that Peyton Barber left behind, where maybe if Rojo's a little bit gassed, he can step in and help. I know Keyshawn Vaughn can help in the short passing game as well. He's pretty good at catching some passes out of the backfield. So
you haven't seen his tape, have you? Look at his tape.
I've seen his highlights. I've seen his tape, man.
How about the running back we drafted in the 7th round this year, the 6th round? You like him?
Raymond Calais, he's going to be a return guy. I don't know if we'll see him too much in the backfield, to be honest with you.
He's good, man. He can get kickoff returns. Let's put him running back, man. Second, maybe he plays second or third string.
Hey, who knows, man? I mean, when you've got, I guess it's going to come down to who you've got back there. But if I had to assume our 3 running backs week 1 of this season, it's going to be Ronald Jones as your running back 1, Keyshawn Vaughn as your running back 2, and Dario Ogunbowale as your third down back. That's what I'm assuming we're going to see week 1. Raymond Calais, I would like to see him help out on kickoff returns, but we also got to see where TJ Logan is at because, I mean, he's pretty valuable returner as well. So those are 2 guys who will be battling for that spot once training camp rolls around for sure.
Who do you think? Who do you think once? Man, you think that secondary will be okay? Will be better this year? What do you think about the secondary we have?
When it comes to the secondary, it's all about how they pick up how they left off last year. You know, second half of last year, that defense was really humming, and the secondary proved to be one of the better units in the league when everybody was on the same page. If week 1 they can come in, I mean, there's going to be some ring rust, obviously, and especially with a lot of these guys missing OTAs and possibly training camp the way that things are going right now, it'll be interesting to see. But if they can pick up how they left off, I think they can do pretty good. I feel confident in the pieces they have back there. I'm very excited to see Antoine Winfield Jr. step into that role and see if he can just adjust to the NFL. It's going to be an interesting first year for him, but I think they can get the job done. I think if the defensive line shows up and they do their job, it makes it a hell of a lot easier on those young guys in the backfield, and we just have to see where they pick up.
Hey, do you think Vita will play some fullback this year?
Evan, what do you think the over/under is on Vita Vea touchdowns this year? I'm going to throw the...
Yeah, we seen it last year. We seen it last year.
We did. So, Evan, I'm going to throw out this number here. 2. Over/under on Vita Vea touchdowns this year. You think we get under 2 or over 2?
I'll go under. I'll just say that it's like 1 per year, basically.
Yeah. I mean... Vita Vea is such a beast, and you know me, the eternal optimist. I love seeing plays like this.
He could be Mark Armstrong, man. I think he could be next Mark Armstrong, man. If you play him a fullback, man. He could
Exactly.
Be next Mark Armstrong, I think.
Exactly, bro. The V train. Eric, thank you so much for calling in and bringing your questions, buddy. We really appreciate you listening.
How about the quarterback? Who do you think will be the one quarterback? Who do you think will be the number 2 quarterback this year?
Number 2 quarterback? If we don't sign anybody else, I think it'll end up being Blaine Gabbert. I don't know if Ryan Griffin's going to beat him out for the second string spot, but you never really know, man.
Okay. Because we have to be careful if Tom Brady gets hurt when he go to plan B. Or we can get Cam Newton, can we? For plan B?
If Cam Newton wants to play for peanuts, but he's also come out and said that he wants to be a starter in the NFL, and I think there's a team out there that may give him that chance. I don't think Tampa's that destination for Cam, though. What do you think, Evan? Let's say Brady goes down in a bad hypothetical scenario. What is the Bucs' plan B? Is there a quarterback floating around that we have time to sign and the money, or is Blaine Gabbert our only hope?
Did you hear about Josh Rosen? I heard about Josh Rosen yesterday. Did you hear about Josh Rosen? I don't know if you heard about Josh Rosen.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I am a fan of Josh Rosen. I know some aren't. I would look into it. I think it would be you wouldn't really have to give up much in a trade, and he's still on his rookie contract, so he's still cheap. So, you know, if I was running the team, I would probably look to add Rosen. But
maybe that's a 3rd round pick or 4th round pick at most.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it's even that much. Maybe I might cost you like a 5th.
All right, Eric, we appreciate you calling in and listening to the show, buddy. It was really good talking to you.
So, I know somebody else want to call in. I know. Thank you.
You're all good. Hey, we appreciate you, brother. First call of the show and a lot of good questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All righty, and we're back. Eric out of Tampa, thanks for calling in. My man, he came loaded with the questions, and I'll be honest with you, I don't mind that. If you come loaded with some questions, we'll take the time, we'll answer them, because I'd much rather answer some questions from people who call in than talk about Tampa Bay assistants affected with COVID-19. I'd rather just forget about all this stuff for a little while, right? Wouldn't we all?
I mean, yeah, probably. So here's the big thing with. So the league has already said that they expect people to get this, right? They expect people to test positive for it. So is this going to mean no football this season? No, right? Right now, this is not going to be the thing that means no football. Because the NFL has already basically said that they expect people to get this, like they do. And, you know, honestly, like, especially I know understand that it's a serious virus, but there's going to be tons of safety precautions in place for a season to even happen. If they weren't planning safety precautions right now, they wouldn't even consider having a season. They would have already canceled it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think at this point, I think that this isn't the last time that you're going to see a Buccaneers assistant or player test positive, or anybody in the league. It's going to happen. It just is.
Yeah.
The about an hour ago before the show went live, there's a report that the Phillies, who train down in Clearwater, they opened their facility this week, and 5 players and 3 coaches have tested positive. So they're sitting there, but I mean, baseball hasn't completely shut down their thing. They're trying to get back. So I think a lot of it has to do with just, you got to understand that, look, you're gonna get this. The biggest thing is not spreading it. So the Buccaneers, they quarantined the 2 assistants that may or may not have it, but they were with that person, so they wanted to be on the safety side of things, and that's what you're going to have to do. You just got to take more precautions than normal.
And that's the big thing as well that you had mentioned. The NFL, whether they want to come out and publicly say it or not, they are expecting people to get this, and I think that's the run-of-the-mill operation once you start opening things back up. We knew that once they were going to start opening things back up around Tampa, around the country, no matter where it is, that it's going to come back, it's going to be a little bit of a spike. And I've heard people say that a little bit of a spike is what you want, because you want people to build those antibodies, this and that, this and that. The argument could go on all day long, but the bottom line is, just like you said, the NFL is taking safety precautions, and we are still a little over 2.5 months away from the regular season. Will they push it back? Who the hell knows at this point? The NBA is going to finish up their season in Orlando at Disney World, so you never really know. With the realm of sports returning, it's a lot of question marks right now. And, Fauci coming out and saying that we may not have football this fall.
Dude.
I hate to crap on the guy. He's been wrong so many times before that if anybody comes out and tries to say anything about how we're not going to have football this year, they don't know. And that's the thing to remember, is that nobody really knows. Evan and I don't even know. We can sit here and say whatever the hell we want to, but nobody knows for sure. And that's what's important. So take every precaution you can, wash your hands, and if you go outside and you go into a crowded area, wear a goddamn mask. That's the least we can ask of you, right? Do your part.
Yeah, I mean, you want to know why I believe that there will be football this fall?
There's money to be made, player.
Well, so is basketball coming back, Rhett?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is hockey coming back?
Absolutely.
Is baseball looking like it's probably going to come back?
No.
What? Well, based on yesterday's news, yes. So
maybe with just a little bit of magic, baseball will never come back again. No, I kid.
So that's the 3 sports. You seriously believe that the NFL isn't going to have any football with all 3 of those sports returning? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There ain't no way. This is the people that the whole 70% of the league didn't want them to have a draft or free agency, and they did it anyway. So they don't care. Obviously they care about the situation. That's why there's going to be precautions in place. But they're not going to cancel the season.
And that's just what it all.
The NFL is king, and they want to continue to be king.
And that's kind of what it all boils down to, is they don't want to cancel the season because, most importantly, there's just too much money to be lost. They had put out some stories a few months ago about the possibility of playing a season with empty stadiums and all the money that'll be lost simply on empty stadiums. The NFL's still going to make its money. You bet your ass there's going to be more people than usual locked up in their house watching some game on a Sunday afternoon. They're going to get their money. It's just a lot of these teams are going to lose out revenue that they would get having a full stadium. And, sometimes it happens, because this has never happened before, but shit happens. What else can I say?
Well, baseball has such an opportunity right now, because based on the dates that they've looked at, like July 18th or whatever starting, they'd pretty much be the first sport back. You know what the ratings would be on some of those games?
Oh, Fans my God.
Like, dude, people just want sports. Like, I know a ton of people that do not like baseball.
I've been watching NASCAR the past 4 weeks.
Man,
NASCAR is back. I don't know if people knew that.
I don't watch I don't watch NASCAR.
I've always liked NASCAR. It's always been like a closet sport that I really enjoy. But ever since I was a young kid, I've liked a bunch of rednecks driving around a big old track. But yeah, NASCAR came back, and they're doing pretty well. They actually ran an iRacing series, which was pretty cool during the downtime. They set up these guys with a bunch of simulation, like, I don't know how to explain it, but iRacing setups for simulation racing in their homes, and they had a bunch of legends come back and race. Like, it was pretty cool. But yeah, sports are slowly but surely coming back, and with that being said, I do still feel like we have a good shot at football this fall, whether there's fans in the stands or not.
Yeah, the only sport that I've really, kind of sport, I guess, that I've really keep watching is, some people might know this, I'm a huge wrestling fan, so I watch WWE still because that didn't really change at all. Besides, just no crowd, but that's pretty much it. It's just I really haven't had much sports. I've watched a little bit of golf, but yeah, like for me, dude, I'm not missing a Phillies game when they come back. Just because I need it, Yeah. So that's why, and the NFL realizes that. The ratings on these games are going to be so high. Because just like you said, there's going to be more people that are going to be home. On a Sunday, sometimes you go out, you do stuff or whatever. Yeah, you don't catch the game this week. Yeah, whatever. Especially with baseball and like hockey and stuff, there's just so many games that you're not going to watch every single game.
And we've got Bucs Skull Gang on the YouTube chat who brought up a really interesting point regarding, more people at home watching these games. He said, could you imagine the NFL charging to watch games at home, like a pay-per-view system? Would you pay to watch an NFL game? I can tell you that I for sure would not, and I think it would be highway robbery if the NFL had the audacity to try and charge people for games that they watch for free for the last 40 years.
I already do.
Yeah, right? Well, if you have Game Pass and all that stuff, I get that.
But we're up here in PA with DirecTV Sunday Ticket. How do you think you watch the Bucs? we already pay.
Ben Leeper in the live chat says, Evan, have you ever watched AEW on TNT? It's a nice alternative to WWE. I'm sure you've tuned into All Elite, right?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of All Elite. I watched this past week. I watched a little bit. NXT has been very meh to me, so I've been watching a little bit of AEW. But yeah, I don't mind it. I would like to see. It's gonna be interesting when the crowds come back because I like to see that stuff. But
I saw that I definitely don't mind it. I saw that the WWE, they didn't have crowds come back, but they had a lot of NXT talent, a lot of developmental guys who were standing 6 feet apart.
Well, also, they let actual fans in too.
I saw about that. Yeah, diehard super fans in the area of the show that they had planned. Wasn't it in Jersey?
It was down at the Performance Center.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, they let fans in. And I think they they tested them and everything. So maybe is that something that the NFL is gonna have to do? Just basing trying to connect it to back to football. Is the NFL? When you go to the gate for a game, are you gonna have to scan your ticket and then scan your forehead?
Right. Sign a big 2-page waiver a day before you go into the game. That, as sad as it is to think about.
Gotta get to the stadium at 11 o'clock by a 1 o'clock game because you got all the paperwork to fill out.
Exactly. And it's kind of sad to think about that, at least for 2020. I feel like next season, a year from now when football's starting to come back around, this will hopefully be a thing of the past. But I feel like that's the future of spectating in sports.
I believe they're hoping for a vaccine sometime later this year, so hopefully, it all is back to normal.
Yeah, I hope so. And that's the thing that's really going to speed a lot of this up, too, that I think people forget is, I've talked to people who say that the new normal is going to last for 2 or 3 years. We're not going to be able to get over this for a long time, and I agree in a lot of ways. But
once the vaccine comes, I think you're going to really start to see a lot of normal stuff.
Exactly. I think once we get a fully functioning vaccine that people can depend on, this will surely but slowly start to go away, and that's what we can hope for.
This is breaking from TSN that the Lightning temporarily closed their facilities because multiple players and staff tested positive. So it seems just Florida is rising again, and it seems like, honestly, Florida rising again, like, yes, I do believe that, like, some of it's an overreaction, but also, Florida, the way they're handling it, they were the first to open, but I hear that, not every place you're not required to have a mask.
Well, they actually, City of Tampa, Jane Castor, mayor, put out, I think just a few days ago, actually, Thursday, she said that the City of Tampa, starting Sunday, will have a mandatory mask rule. So if you're going to any business in Tampa or around Tampa, say again.
The same person that kicked Tom Brady out of the park. So.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Big evil Jane Castor. I'm not going to get political, but yeah, Florida is definitely going to be the guinea pig state because we have shown no desire of shutting anything down. So we'll just kind of roll the dice and see how that goes.
Haven't they shut down? Have they shut down bars and restaurants again?
I believe they started to. I know Jacksonville, they started to shut down bars and restaurants, but by my house, I can go to Applebee's and eat right now. Like, it's open.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see. But hey, Rhett, let's be the proverbial, the I guess cliche statement. Stick to football, I guess.
That's enough COVID talk for now. So we've got some other topics we can cover, but I do want to remind you guys that this is a CF Hotline call-in show. 813-433-0323. Once again, 813-433-0323. If you want to call in and be featured on the show, we're answering all types of questions. If you're Eric from Tampa, he might have taken everybody else's questions. That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, yeah, he had some good ones.
Let's take a look at the live chat really quick before we move on. Zach Jarvis says, who do you guys think Tom Brady's favorite target is going to be besides Gronk in Tampa? I say maybe Tyler Johnson because he has elite route running skills besides the speed. Bucs Skull Gang says Zach is right, maybe Evans or Chris Godwin. Zach comes back and says Brady's probably going to love every single one of them. And I think that's what's important is that, we can sit here and talk about a favorite target, but I think Brady's going to have fun with just about everybody who can catch a football on that offense. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, you talk about Tyler Johnson's elite route running. Obviously, even the question says Gronkowski by default will probably be the guy. Would you say?
Yeah. Let me just say this about Gronk really quick.
Yeah. I want to say something too, and it might be we might be saying the same thing.
I definitely think we're on the right track. So, do you remember when the Bucs signed Gronk? We went live on YouTube just like we are right now. We did a call-in show. We took people's calls. We talked about the possibility of one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game joining a Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense where you're already pretty much loaded at the tight end position. It was a great day. Everybody celebrated. There was confetti. We had drinks on the show. You should have been there. You really should have been there. You missed it out. You missed out quite a bit. But
go back and watch it then.
Exactly. Yeah. But did we really need him? I know that he is great for Tom Brady. I know it helps bring some familiarity in the offense, and I know that there's a lot of pros to it. But the facts are this. The guy got injured a lot, and he took a year off because he got injured a lot. Now, I'm not saying he can't come back and be healthy, because I think if he comes back and he's 75% of the tight end he used to be, he'll still be an upgrade at the tight end position. But I don't know, man. I'm so 50-50 on it. I'm so uncertain about Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm going to say. I don't understand why there's a lot of people saying, 9 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns. Relax. This dude hasn't played football in a year, okay? Yes, I do think he can still play the game, but you just don't know right now. Same thing with Colin Kaepernick. I look at Ryan Griffin and Blaine Gabbert, and I'm like, okay, well, Colin Kaepernick is probably better than those guys, but you have to factor in those guys have been playing the last 3 years. Colin Kaepernick has not, right? That's a big deal. When you're not playing the game, that is a big deal. Obviously, Gronkowski hasn't been away for 3 years, but, I mean, one year. You look at Marshawn Lynch, who retired then came back. He wasn't the same guy.
Yeah.
It's going to be different. I understand that, Marshawn Lynch plays running back. Running backs get beat up more, and he was already like a bruiser type guy. I understand that. But I feel like the biggest reason they did this was, I feel like if there was actual training camps and OTAs and mini camps, I feel like the possibility of a Gronk trade is actually less, because you would have had time for Brady to build chemistry.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of this is, they say, hey, we're gonna have Gronk for 1 year, right? Maybe 2. We'll see if he re-signs. I would assume it's probably have to be less than $9 million if he wants to retire again with Brady. So he wants to come back for another year. And they're like, Brady's comfortable with him. Brady was comfortable with Antonio Brown too, but they decided that just the locker room, that just wasn't going to work.
Right.
So I mean, obviously that was out the table. But Rob Gronkowski was on the table, and what better guy than chemistry? I mean, maybe like a guy like Julian Edelman, but like he has a high cap hit, and you have to trade for him too, so that wasn't going to work. And he's actually playing right now, so it would have cost you probably more than a 4th-round pick.
Yeah.
So I just think that right now, fans need to temper their expectations a bit with Rob Gronkowski. I am expecting, like 550 yards, 600 yards, and like 3-4 touchdowns. Like, I mean, that's just over a little bit of what O.J. Howard had this year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm expecting a little bit better, but I'm not expecting this Pro Bowl season from Gronkowski.
And that's the thing as well that I think a lot of people do forget when they put these expectations on a guy like Gronk is there's a lot of other pieces on that offense. It's going to be a lot of other guys putting up pretty big numbers. Like, I almost want to feel confident enough to say that at the end of the season, O.J. Howard will have more receiving yards than Rob Gronkowski. Is that a reach? I don't know. Maybe. I guess it'll depend on how the Bucs ultimately end up using Rob Gronkowski. But let me look at the live chat really quick. Ben Leeper brought up a great point. It was kind of in alignment with what you were saying. He said, the way that I see it, we gave up barely any draft capital. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me right now. So even if he busts, we aren't hurt too bad in that department. Positively, he's got a crazy high ceiling, and he has that chemistry with Tom, which is needed because of this really weird offseason. So again, he's a guy that can come in. He's familiarity for Tom Brady. He's one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game, but you just have to assume and you have to hope, really, that he is a fraction of what he used to be. And I think he can be. He posted those pictures in the Bucs uniforms, the photo shoot that him and Brady had. Somebody made a comment, and I kind of agreed with him. It kind of looks like Gronk is back on the juice, man. He is, oh my God. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, well, and everybody had a problem with him, with his weight early in the offseason, so.
Yeah, really. He really seems to be packing it back on, so we'll see how that goes come training camp.
That's pretty easy for those guys to do.
Mr. Bucs Nation, the phone line is open. Cannon Fire Podcast, thank you for calling. This is Blaine, right?
Nah, this is John.
All right, what's going on, Blaine? How you doing, man?
All right, my question is, who do you think is going to be the next breakout player on the offensive side and on the defensive side?
Okay, that's a good question. Blaine, I'm going to add Evan back to the call, so I'm going to relay your question. Thank you so much for calling in, and thanks for your question, my man. All right, so let's get Evan back on this call. Blaine's question is, who is the next breakout player for the Bucs on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball? So let's get back on this call. Evan Wanish, are you still there, my friend?
Yes, I am.
Let's do it. So the question that Blaine asked, he said, who is the next breakout star on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I'm going to pick my offensive. I'll toss you your offensive, and then we'll do defensive, and then we'll take this call from the 727 here in just a minute. So my offensive breakout star, honest to God, I think Scotty Miller is going to hit his stride this year, and I think Scotty Miller might even perform a little bit better than a guy like Tyler Johnson. Just because I think he'll be a little bit more involved and a little bit more productive in this offense. What do you think?
Yeah, my breakout star, the obvious ones, I think, I feel like the obvious one is like Ronald Jones, but I don't want to go with Ronald Jones. So I'll go with Alex Kappa. I think this year he proves that he's a starting caliber, not a Pro Bowl level guard, but a starting caliber guard in the NFL.
I like it. I like it, man. I like it. So let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball. Let me get yours first, and then I'll throw mine out there. And then we're going to start getting some more of these phone calls because we got some coming in.
there's so much young talent on the defense,
Right.
that, oh man, you got literally the entire secondary is just guys that you could pick.
Sean Murphy Bunting's the easy answer.
I'll go Carlton Davis. I'm going to say that Carlton Davis finally is able to catch a few interceptions, which has been his bugaboo, and he turns into a top 15 cornerback in the NFL.
I like it, man. Last year, he finished the season with more passes defended than Stephon Gilmore, if I remember correctly. I definitely think he's a guy who has shown he has some cornerback one tendencies, and I like to agree with you there. I think this year he can take that next step and be a definitive cornerback one for the Buccaneers defense. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm just going to say a rookie, and it's simply because I'm so excited to see this guy play, and that's Antoine Winfield Jr. I thought
it was going to be Khalil Davis.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna go with Antoine Winfield Jr. just because I feel like he can step in. He can transition well. Like, I feel like he's a guy who can really transition well into the NFL, and he's going to show us a little bit more than the average rookie in this first year if he can get in and find his spot in that backfield. So I'm looking at Antoine Winfield Jr. this year. But again, just like you said, there's a lot of young talent all over this team, and I think that is I think that's the beautiful part of it. So let's open the hotline back up. Blaine, thank you for your question. Appreciate you listening out of Tampa. 813-433-0323 is the number to call if you want to come on the show. We're going to answer a few more questions before we start to wrap this thing up. And hopefully Skype doesn't crash on us a few more times, but it is what it is. Otney. Cannon Fire Podcast, thanks for calling. What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Hi, it's Kendall from Orinda, California.
Kendall from California. What's going on, my man? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I am doing great. I am going to attempt to add Evan back to the call, and if we hang up, I promise you it's only because Skype crashed. So we're going to see how this goes, okay?
I understand, okay.
All right, we successfully added Mr. Wanish back to the call. So, Kendall, thank you for calling out of Cali, by the way. Our West Coast listeners showing some love. What do you want to talk about today, my man?
Hoping there's some news on the Jamal Adams front. If their Bucs are willing to trade for him, if they're interested. What do you guys think?
We had Eric from Tampa at the beginning of the show actually ask us about Jamal Adams, and that was the great thing about Eric is that he asked so many questions. I think he covered everybody's realm of questions they wanted to ask. But we had kind of talked about, at this rate, I think it's just a financial thing. You know, I don't think the Bucs have the money to throw at them. Even if he wanted to play here, maybe they could make something happen, but I think if they wanted to make a move on him, they would have to give up some sort of capital, whether it's a future draft pick or maybe a guy that still has some good trade value, aka one of the tight ends, but I just don't think there's a way that Jamal Adams can come play for Tampa without us giving up a big piece of what can make this team good. So if I had to guess, I don't think it's very likely, at least where we are right now. Things could change, though. You know, the NFL's crazy as hell, and it's been one of the weirdest off seasons in a while. But, Evan, what do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think... I think with the Bucs, for one, would love to have Jamal Adams. That's just, but sure, so would every other NFL team. But of course, you know, there, like I said, there's a salary cap, and I mean, it's probably going to cost you at least a first-round pick and then some. So, I mean, are you willing to, you know, part with valuable draft picks plus a lot of money? It's really tough. And you know, Jamal Adams is apparently, you know, he's put out a list of 7 teams where if traded he wouldn't ask for a new contract right away, and the Bucs weren't on one of those teams. So he's not saying that he wouldn't welcome a trade to the Bucs. It's just that if he were traded to the Bucs, he would need a contract extension right away, and I just don't think that that's a real possibility. Like Rhett said, without the Bucs sacrificing a guy, like, you know, if Jamal Adams were to come, that may mean the end for guys like Ryan Jensen and Levante David next year. Like that has long-term implications. So I just don't see it as likely, even though it would be super fun to have a guy like that.
Now, taking a look at the live chat really quick, I want to toss a question to both of you guys, and Kendall, you can answer this one first. Ben Leeper says he would give up this year's first-round pick for Jamal Adams in a heartbeat. So the question to both of you guys, would you give up next year's first-round pick for Jamal Adams if that meant he was a Buck today?
Absolutely not, because we don't know what's going on with COVID. Like, if COVID's going to, with all these new reports of positive tests, And all around the league, you don't know if the league is going to push back the season or even cancel the season. So then that's a year we miss out on Brady. And then we're going to need that pick just in case we need to draft a quarterback.
Yeah,
He's not going to be there that long.
I was thinking the same thing, bro. That was the first thing that ran in my head when I saw first round pick for the Bucs next year, because we talked about it on our last episode. It very well could be a quarterback the Bucs are looking to draft, whether it's the middle of the first round, the beginning, let's hope not, or even the end of the first round. But that's a very, very important pick. Evan, what would you do in that situation? You giving up a first for Jamal Adams?
No risk it, no biscuit, right?
It is a win now team. It is.
Well, see, I mean, that's to me, man. I look at it, and I do get the point of trading a first round pick when you could be selecting a quarterback potentially is a risk. But man, Jamal Adams is just such a player, and even if, which we both talked about, I don't believe the NFL is going to cancel the season. But even if they did, it's not like Jamal Adams would just walk in free agency. It's not like, I believe all the contracts would just carry over to the next year. Just because, I mean, technically it wouldn't be a year. So how could you count that as a season? So if you had the money to sign him and it was just a first round pick straight up, I probably would. Like if they wanted like 2 firsts or whatever, no, that's too much. But if it was just a first round pick and I had the money to re-sign this guy, I probably would. But I mean, you guys both bring up great points as to why you wouldn't, and that's why sports are so great, because everybody can have a solid opinion.
Hell yeah, man. No risk it, no biscuit. And with the Bucs, the way that this offseason is going, that move is not even out of the realm of possibility. So that's what makes it so interesting. Kendall, did you have any other questions, my man?
No, I think I'm good for now. I appreciate you guys. I'll definitely be listening to the rest of the episode. I just called in now and caught you guys.
Hell yeah, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for listening all the way out there in Cali.
No problem. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Go Bucs.
Yes, sir. Go Bucs. 813-433-0323. Yeah, California, bro. Showing some Cali love. I love it. We actually got a really good email from Kendall in the past that we read on the show. He's been listening to the show for a while, and we really do appreciate his support. So thank you so much, my man.
I figured we were good.
Evan, let me grab this real quick. Can of Fire Podcast. What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Rhett, Evan.
Yes?
It's James.
Oh, it's James. Who would have thought Mr. Bucs Nation himself has called into the show?
I heard Applebee's trip. Is that being planned?
Let me add Evan back to the call, and we can talk about this Applebee's trip here. But yeah, I was talking about a trip to Applebee's right down the road from my house. They've got the protective screens up between the booths and all of that good stuff. So what's going on, James? How you doing, my man?
Oh God.
Evan.
Evan, you're not going to say hello?
Good. Everybody in the chat, are we going?
Oh yeah, we're going, buddy.
Big old meetup. No, man. I've been watching the show. I saw the number, felt I had to call in. Tried calling in earlier, couldn't do it. Couldn't figure it out. I'm a little stupid. You know how we do.
Oh no, it's not your fault. It was probably us. It was probably Skype crashing for the 18th time. That's why you didn't get your call through.
Yeah. I don't really have a question. I just wanted to say hey and make these jokes.
Hey, you are. I mean, as normally I would just boot you off right now because you don't have a question. But since you're technically the third member, I guess you can stay on for a few more.
Okay, I appreciate that. I don't know. Didn't think I'd get this far.
Yeah, now you got to make up something on the spot.
Well, that's what you normally do on your show anyway, right, James?
Oh no!
Really? Come on! I just came here to talk about going to Applebee's, Evan.
Hey, man. Well, Applebee's. Like I've voiced my opinion on Applebee's. I said it's not great, but if you were there, I'd be there. So.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that. But, everybody in the chat's invited. Just good vibes all around. Well, we got to make sure that we keep the people limit.
Oh yeah. I think groups of less than 10, right? So we'd have to take up like 7 booths in the restaurant, but it'd definitely be a good time.
we would all have to be pretty spread out.
Hey, I do think, though, while we're on the topic of people meeting up at certain restaurants, if anyone does not know, last season for the Bucs taking on the Rams, James had himself a little meetup at a Buffalo Wild Wings over in St. Petersburg, and let me tell you, that was probably the most fun watch party I've ever been to in my life. It might have been the alcohol towards the end that helped me sway that direction.
It also might have been because the Bucs scored 55 points.
Oh, yeah, baby. Franchise record. We Derek Brooksed them boys. That's what me and Tommy came up with. We Derek Brooksed them. That's what it's called whenever we put up 55. And a franchise record. It's only fitting.
I can't wait for them to Warren Sapp somebody.
Right? Exactly. I am waiting for the day.
Oh, no.
But we should definitely try and collaborate on something like that in the future. I know we've tossed up the idea before, and everybody has a draft party. The draft is come and gone, but I think getting a watch party together, especially if for whatever reason the season is played without fans in the stadium, I think a watch party would mean that much more. So what do you say, James?
Oh, yeah, I'm already down, man. I was already, obviously all the COVID stuff, but I was planning on doing one this upcoming season anyway. We could do one for an away game. I was thinking maybe the Raiders game. That'd be kind of fun, right?
Oh, hell yeah. It'd be tons of fun. The only thing is that if there's no restaurants open, it's just going to have to be at somebody's house, and it's definitely not going to be at my house, and it's not going to be at Evan's house because he lives in Philly. So, James, you've got a big enough house, right?
I'm coming down to somebody's house.
Oh,
I got to stay somewhere.
We'll go raid somebody's house. We'll go to
Brady's house. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, he'll be playing a game. Jeter's got all that land, all that room. I know exactly where it's at. That'll be good. It'll be good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. Look at us. Look at us. Couple of dudes making plans on a live stream. We're
live. This is how things get done, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. We call each other up on Skype in front of a bunch of people watching, and we're like, "Hey, we should probably do this."
Kendall says his house is available in Cali. Oh, well, we all.
Oh, that's a far drive. But I'll tell you what, bro. If airfare tickets are still dirt cheap by the time the season rolls around, let's make it happen.
Yeah, me and you can hang out. We all hang out at Kendall's house.
Exactly.
Evan, fly down. We can all road trip over there.
Okay, that's fine.
James, we appreciate you calling in, man. Before I let you go, tell the people what you've got going on your side of the channel, Mr. Bucs Nation. I know you just had a pretty cool interview recently.
I did. Mr. Bucs Nation on YouTube. Just talked to Jadon Mickens. I said his name wrong in the interview. I called him Jaden. I love it when that happens.
Did he correct you?
But
man,
the whole time. No. He just. I the whole interview. I said, "Hey, Jaden." He goes, "Man, I'm just trying to be the best Jadon Mickens I can be," and I just went, "Yeah."
That's the worst.
Yeah, it's okay though. It was a lot of fun. Interviewed him, talked to him a lot about being a wide receiver on the team and kind of undrafted mentality, stuff like that. So that's kind of the latest thing I'm doing. Not a lot of stuff going on right now, is it? We're just kind of waiting at this point, But I don't know. I might have some fun stuff down the pipeline. We'll wait and see. But yeah, just Mr. Bucs Nation on YouTube, fun stuff. Look, thank you guys for allowing me to just be ridiculous for a little bit on here. Much appreciated.
Hey, that's what we're here for, buddy. Anytime you need to call and be ridiculous, the hotline is open. 813-433-0323.
Appreciate you guys. I'm sure I'll just talk to you very soon.
Absolutely, buddy. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bucs Nation on YouTube. Go check out his stuff. He's got a lot of great things you can watch. James, thanks for calling, buddy.
No problem. See you guys in a bit.
See you, man. Cannon Fire Podcast.
Hello?
What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
This is Eric in Tampa again. What's up, man?
Eric in Tampa. Everything comes full circle. Welcome back to the show, buddy. What's going on?
Yeah, I had a couple ideas. It was crazy, man.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to try and add Evan back to the call here. And I promise that if the call drops, it's only because Skype crashed on me.
Okay, no worries. And I understand what you've been saying all day.
All right, we're good. We're good. So Evan is back in the call.
Okay.
So what was some of the stuff you wanted to talk about again?
Man, what would you think? I saw somebody put in the chat. What would you thought if the Bucs could trade for Lamar Jackson?
Oh my God, this is almost like we talked about Madden a little bit earlier and taking off the salary cap. I don't know if Lamar Jackson is that big of a hit to the salary cap right now, but in my opinion, it's almost fantasy. Like, I don't expect the Ravens to let go of that guy for any price anytime soon.
Not even for Tom Brady?
Not even for Tom Brady.
Tom?
Not even for Tom Brady. Listen, Lamar Jackson, I mean, that's the MVP, bro.
How about this? Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Shaq Barrett, maybe Vita, and maybe Gronk in the first round pick.
I don't even know if that would... yeah, for just Lamar Jackson, I mean, you're putting everything on the line. Lamar Jackson's going to be the whole offense.
But, yeah, that's...
They probably do that, but why would the Bucs? Why in the world would the Bucs do that?
I don't know, to get younger, have a young quarterback for the future.
Yeah, but to get younger, but I mean, you're just... So what would your realistic proposal be?
That's what I just said. Vita, Shaq Barrett, Tom Brady, a first-round pick, and maybe Mike Evans or Chris Godwin.
So you want to get younger, but you're trading away a first-round pick, Vita Vea, and Mike Evans, who are young players, and Shaq Barrett. Okay, that's a lot.
That would be a Madden trade. Madden.
I don't think it's
I had a
likely.
question to you. Why would the Bucs? It was a lot of running backs in free agency. We passed up on the hunt this year. We passed up on a lot of good running backs this year in this year's free agency. We could have grabbed. We could have grabbed. But we wanted to keep the defense together. That's why. Man, I thought Sue wasn't coming back. Man, I was just scared because it was coming late, man. I thought Sue wasn't coming back at first. I was scared.
Yeah, well, they accomplished their goal, just like you said. Their goal was to bring the defense back, and for the most part, I mean, the only one they really lost was Carl Nassib. I mean, they did a really good job of bringing back that defense, and hopefully it translates over.
And I think let me just throw this in here really quickly. I think a big reason the Buccaneers passed over a lot of those running backs is just simply the faith that this coaching staff has in Ronald Jones to take that step. The step that he took between year 1 and 2 looked so massive because he barely played in year 1. So for him, he hit the weight room coming into year 2, and we've obviously seen him working hard as hell coming into year 3, not only with his route running getting better, but he's still hitting the weight room. He's filling out just like an NFL running back. Okay. So I think they got a lot of faith in him taking a step.
Hey guys, I had this video improve this year, and Devin White. That would be my defense. That would be my whatchamacallit. And the offense would be Ronald Jones.
Okay, I like it, man. Those are your breakout players for this year. I'm looking forward to Ronald Jones really stepping up this year as well.
Devin White and Vita Vea.
Devin White's going to be a stud. He's going to be good in the NFL for a very long time if his rookie year was a glimpse at anything. But, Eric, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show here. We really do appreciate you calling in again, my man.
I had one more question. One more question real quick.
All right, go ahead.
Man, what okay, what would you guys thought if the Bucs? Because I saw something, an article a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. I saw. Look at it. Could we use an RG3?
Well, RG3 is another one of those guys who's come out just like Cam Newton, where he had a quote come out a few weeks ago. RG3 wants to start. And, I mean, very well, maybe he could leave Baltimore and sit behind Tom Brady and then start after that. But I think when it comes to, RG3, the age that he is, because he has been in the league a little bit longer than most people think he has, I think the Bucs would want to look a little bit younger, especially if it's a guy that can't come in and start day one. RG3, he wants to start.
Okay. How about Justin Fields? Do you think Justin Fields will be there when the Bucs pick Justin Fields?
I don't know. No. If the Bucs make a run, then I doubt it.
But the Bucs are going to have a top 5 pick to get him.
Yeah.
And that's quarterbacks out of it's on 2 quarterbacks in this year's draft: Justin Fields and Lawrence.
Nah, there's a lot of good guys. There's a lot of guys I like. I like Trey Lance from North Dakota State. Kyle Trask from Florida. Jamie Newman just transferred to Georgia. I think all three of those guys, could potentially be first round guys. So
Kyle Trask has a
you know,
lot to prove this year if he's first round for me.
You guys, I don't even know where the Bucs can get Jalen Hurts or Jake Fromm, or why the Bucs can get one of those quarterbacks? You think?
Well, I don't know.
Jalen
After
Hurts got picked in the second round,
Jalen Hurts got picked in the second, and after
early.
those Jake Fromm text messages came out, I wouldn't want a guy like that on my team, to be frank with you.
Okay.
All right, Eric.
Yes, you guys are coming. Okay, got you. Thank you.
We appreciate you,
All right,
buddy.
see you, man.
I almost feel bad like ending calls prematurely, but my man has questions for days. We need to next live call-in show. We need to just write down Eric's number, call him, and then talk to him for like an hour and a half. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's just about going to do it for this episode of the Cannon Fire Hotline, as well as CFP episode 117. Thank you so much to everybody who called in to the show. And by the way, the hotline is not just open whenever we go live. It is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can call the number 813-433-0323. You can leave a voicemail that is, I think, 2 minutes is your time limit. But send it a Bucs take. Let us know your thoughts on anything and everything going on, whether it's a question, whether it's a critique of the show, or it's just something you want to scream at us about. Give us a call, 813-433-0323. But that's going to wrap up our live edition of the Cannon Fire Hotline. So thank you once again to everybody who tuned in, everybody in the live chat. We truly do appreciate you, and everybody who gave us a call. Evan, any last words, my friend?
Not really. It was a really good show. Obviously, you had Eric with all the questions. We had Kendall from Cali. We had James call in, our buddy James. And then, we had Eric for one last set of questions, and a ridiculous one in Lamar Jackson. So probably one of the only times you'll mention Lamar Jackson on this podcast. So
yeah, that was a direction that I didn't think we were going to go. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Hey. I mean, I love it, man. We embrace all types of conversation here on the show. That's what we're here for. We just want to give people an escape and talk about sports and the team that we ultimately all root for. So that's what's most important at the end of the day. So thank you so much for everyone tuning in. I just hung up on somebody, so I apologize, but we're just not taking any more calls. That's going to wrap up things on our end. You can follow the show on social media, Cannon Fire Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can follow myself on Instagram and Twitter at Rhettakus, Rhettakus. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. And by the way, follow me on Twitter because I am on effing fire today. All right, let's just take a look at this tweet that I've got right now. Eclipsing.
Let's chill out.
820 likes, 178 retweets, and 34 replies. I don't know if I'm famous or something, brother. But yeah, you go check your sheets.
No.
You go check your stats because I'm the best. Because I'm the best.
Oh, check your sheet.
I really didn't think that tweet was gonna blow up the way that it did. But if you'll know exactly the one if you go follow me.
Oh my God. Holy cow.
At Rhettakus. If you follow me, I promise I will follow you back.
Look at you.
I can also.
Then let's look at the next tweets then. No likes, 5 likes. No
hey,
likes.
settle down. I'm a superstar. Let me have my moment.
Your pin tweet has 99 likes. Maybe that one should be your new pin tweet.
Bro, it's got 99 likes. That means 2 people unliked it. Because
it
was
over
at
100.
Maybe they just blocked me or something. Who the hell knows at this point?
You gotta make the 800 like one. You gotta make that your pin tweet now.
I really should. It really did pop off. But I appreciate Kendall getting over there and checking it out. He just saw it. I saw him like it in real time. I follow him as well. So make sure you follow me. I'll follow you back. And don't forget, you can follow my co-host on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram at Bucs.wave, the #1 Bucs fan page on Instagram, and on Twitter at EvanNFL, where he yells about Philly sports that nobody cares about.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And one last thing, a big shout out to our sponsors at Pinecrest Printing and Signs. Now, if you guys saw recently, we ran a giveaway where we gave away a signed Mike Allstott photo along with a lot of CFP prize packs, and none of that would be possible without our sponsors over at Pinecrest Printing and Signs. By the way, I'm going to get all that stuff mailed out to you guys soon if you're watching and you're curious where the hell is my stuff, but it will be here, I promise.
Yeah, they're probably listening to this like, okay, you're talking about the giveaway, but I haven't even got anything yet.
There's just been a lot of things going on, as people know, and if you're any sort of understanding, then you get it. You will get your stuff,
Rhett's
I promise.
got a bad back, guys.
Rhett's what?
I just said that Rhett has a bad back. You gotta.
Yeah,
relax.
I got a bad back. Come on now. All right. So shout out to our friends at Pinecrest Printing and Signs. They can handle anything for your branding, whether it's a big or small business. They've got you covered. They do apparel, business cards. They've handled both of those for us and the stickers as well. All of those are elite. Like, they look great. So RJ and his staff are always ready to help you guys Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. are their hours. They're located in Brandon, Florida, and they've been helping out the Tampa Bay business community for the better part of 20 years. Give RJ and his experienced staff a call at 813-684-5444, or you can check out the website at pinecrestprinting.com. I am your host, Rhett Matthew, signing off for my co-host, Mr. Evan Wanish. We appreciate you guys listening to our show. We appreciate you calling in, and we will talk to you.